Good morning, everyone. This is Ruth Buchanan, your host for today's Florida Makes webinar series on a very important topic. We are excited to bring to you the topic of smart manufacturing and the future really of manufacturing, not just in Florida, but in the US and for the entire world. This is a topic that's super important really for the entire industry. So welcome to today's The Path to a Smart Manufacturing Future. We are so excited to also bring to you a partner of ours, SESME. We have Conrad here today later that will talk more about what SESME is and smart manufacturing. Next slide, please, Miss Patricia. That is me. You all have seen that. Thank you. All right, FloridaMakes. We are your Florida Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Our mission is it's simple. We're here to strengthen and advance Florida's manufacturing economy. And the vision is we want to be recognized. We want Florida to be recognized as a global leader in manufacturing, and the entire state has achieved a lot of great strides in the last years toward this vision. Next slide, please. And how do we do that? How do we help manufacturers in the state of Florida? So there are 6 bullets there for everybody to just understand and keep in mind how we help you, particularly the manufacturers in the call. We are your objective third party. We are here as your business advisors because we have the experts on our team. Every day I work with these men and women who are so experienced and knowledgeable in the field of manufacturing and advanced manufacturing. So keep that in mind because we are also connectors. We are part of the state ecosystem for entrepreneurship and the growth of our economy. And we will help you also solve your problems. As I said, we have a lot of manufacturing experts on our team. And by doing so, we help accelerate the growth in the state. So those are our 6 bullets on how we help manufacturers. Today's topic on smart manufacturing, these are your key takeaways that we promised to give you today. We will be debunking some of the myths and the common misconceptions and really the trepidation, the hesitation and why you have to implement and how to implement smart manufacturing. So Conrad will be helping us with that today, because you really need to prepare for the future. Learn how to get your business and team ready for your journey. And also we're bringing you resources. Between FloridaMakes and SESME, there's a lot of resources. You'll see later on, Conrad has prepared some good slides for us. And then some practical first steps to identify some of the key first steps, foundational steps that you can take right away. And you'll be surprised, by the way, there's a slide from Conrad about some people think this is it will take a huge capital investment. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that. So those are key takeaways. And I am so honored and happy to be joined again by my colleague, co-worker, my partner in crime really in the webinar series, Ernie Friend, who is Executive Director of FLATE, which is Florida Advanced Technological Education Center. And he will be co-facilitating this webinar with me. Ernie, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, thanks, Ruth. Doing great. Hello, everybody. Like Ruth said, I'm the Ernie Friend, Executive Director of FLATE, as well as Technology and Innovation for FloridaMakes. Just want to say a few things. FloridaMakes is taking a multi-pronged approach to helping with companies and educators understand the value of automation and smart manufacturing. So we're hosting a series of professional developments, not only for industry, but also for educators. We're working with educators across the state to be able to teach students how to help companies automate, as well as a series of professional development opportunities for industry, which we'll talk about at the end of this webinar.
Yeah, and next slide, please. Oh, okay. We're going to be cracking some jokes today. So, assembly line humor. What do you call an assembly line that makes jokes? All right, next slide. A punchline. So, all right, next slide, please, Patricia. All right,
So it's
Ernie, go ahead.
It's my honor to introduce Conrad Leva, the Vice President of Ecosystem and Workforce at SESME. Uh, Thanks for joining us today, Conrad, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. I hope everybody can see my screen now, Ernie.
Yeah, we
Ruth.
can see it.
I'm Conrad Leva, a VP of Ecosystem and Workforce Development at SESME. Over 30 years of experience in manufacturing, over 10 years working with smart manufacturing and industry leaders at SESME and Mesa International. We're going to talk today. Before we get into our topic, just a brief introduction to SESME in case you don't know SESME, but we are funded by the US government. We're one of 17 manufacturing USA institutes that are all were created to help accelerate adoption of technology by US manufacturers, each one in different technology lanes. We are the one dedicated to smart manufacturing. And we have a great ecosystem of collaborators. We have over 200 members that are dedicated to this mission of accelerating smart manufacturing because we believe that that's how we're going to realize the vision of Industry 4.0 and move forward and especially take all we have learned from the industry leaders and get it to the average manufacturer, which is a small, medium manufacturer. So we're very excited to be speaking here at this event. And we believe in the mission of the MEPs like FloridaMakes to help small manufacturers. Today, we're going to be discussing some foundational concepts and building blocks in smart manufacturing to help manufacturers get aligned on a good journey and roadmap for increasing those data-driven capabilities, smart manufacturing capabilities. So let's start by just talking about where we are, the current state, right, of things is that most executives among the leading manufacturers that are surveyed by industry analysts, right, believe smart manufacturing is the future. They are investing in these technologies and techniques. So there is a race going on, right? Whether you sit on the sidelines or decide to engage in the transformation, this is happening. So it behooves everyone to think about how we're going to work in this highly digital future and compete against integrated ecosystems. So are you going to be part of those digital ecosystems or can your company really survive on the sidelines? Here's a industry report by Gartner Research. And not only do they see that 83% of manufacturers are working on smart manufacturing as part of their future roadmap, but look at another interesting point here, right? That 70% of them have integrated smart manufacturing along with their lean and sustainable manufacturing initiatives. So they're not just working on it on the side by itself. And why is that? Is because what we're seeing among industry leaders is a big mindset shift, a mindset that is driving better results. So, and according to industry analysts like LNS and Gartner, these industry leaders are achieving a higher productivity increase and step change because really they're focusing on innovation in their products and processes, radical trust and transparency, and putting the frontline worker at the center of the strategy. All things that require a data-driven organization as the minimum requirement. So lean has been a great mindset. Many manufacturing productivity improvements over the last few decades have been driven by lean principles, but manufacturing has evolved with more complex products, more complex processes. Lean is also evolving. The lean principles stay the same, but when we add lean and digital, we get a very powerful combination. A combination that has been documented as giving us additional results, like in this study by Deloitte, where they looked at manufacturers that were pursuing the traditional uh, lean manual methods, and those that were adding digital to it were achieving 30% or greater benefits in all kinds of dimensions, including productivity, quality, scheduling performance. So this impact, this green line of adding lean and smart is a very important thing your competitors are doing and working on. Another mindset pivot is that successful leaders are moving beyond the tactical investments and continuous improvements to a more balanced and strategic mindset uh, about how they invest in technologies. We have found that in the tactical area, a lot of companies were just focused on solving specific problems, and they were getting benefits from those. But that was also resulting in a lot of islands of innovation, silos, stovepipes of data that were not integrated. So when we take a step back and look at the investment in smart manufacturing technologies as a more strategic initiatives, we're more focused on how we're going to share data across the enterprise. And another key part of that really new mindset is that we as manufacturers are not in a bubble on our own, that really the top manufacturers are competing as digital ecosystem. That is really their future. Okay. Look at that. 85% of them believe this is what is going to be the differentiator, that they have documented that they're achieving much higher results when they work as an integrated digital ecosystem and supplier network. So, are you ready to be part of this digitally connected ecosystem? Are you ready for this shift of mindset in your company? If you're ready, there's also some important foundational blocks that you need to consider. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's imagine that this is a work cell in your plant, and products are moving through. You walk your plant. So, do you know how your line is performing today? How would you make improvements to a line like this? Is it enough to just take a look at the line and see how is it doing? Or do we need some data? What kind of data would you like to have? To really improve this line, to manage it properly, to know if product is moving through here at quality. Is it enough just to look at the end of the line, how many good products and end products we have? Or do we want to be looking at quality throughout the process? Right? Data like counting the parts rate, our production rate, cycle times, our, the different parts of the recipe, verifying that the oven was at the right temperature for the process we're doing, that the time in the oven was the right time, right? These are all important parts of verifying the production rate, the quality. And we can also be keeping track of the equipment and the maintenance, right? These are all things and data that we want, and not data a day or 2 days old. This is Data that if we had in real time, we can improve how we manage this line. And it's not that hard to put the monitors, okay? So the good news is it's not that hard to automate this type of data collection and get real time data. Because, and to have historical data, because it's not enough to just look at the gauges and tell, oh, right now we're in the green, so we're looking pretty good. But, oh, wow, we had an incident an hour ago. What was happening when that happened? So we need to be able not just to see the current value, but look back at history and be able to make correlations between something bad that happened, the product came out during that time with bad quality. What other factors influence that? We need to be able to do root cause analysis, and we need able to understand how stable the processes are and what variables might be causing the instability. That kind of data helps us make better decisions about improving our line and prioritizing the process improvements. So you kind of get where I'm going. The data is key to this integrated smart manufacturing vision, right? Integrated and real-time data. So not just data in those silos, right? Access to real-time data helps operation managers view, analyze, and act on time-sensitive information. And we can do it in greater speed and accuracy. Okay? And if we take too long to act on some situations, that could be additional costs that we incur. We have an amazing vision for our smart manufacturing factory, right? But this vision cannot be realized without data. And the technology to do all this change and transformation is available today, okay? But it takes time and a strategic commitment to make it happen. But the payoff is well documented by those industry analysts like Gartner and Deloitte and McKinsey, right? And your competitors are moving this direction. So what are the challenges? What are the things that are holding us back today? Right, let's see. Well, the reality is that today we're not there. We're not in that vision. And most manufacturers are not. So don't feel bad if you're don't feel like you're far behind or something. The reality for many manufacturers today, the average manufacturers, that we're still collecting data manually on paper-based systems. Okay, that we get our labor like at the end of the day when people fill in their time cards and stuff. So this usually means we're working with data that is a day or two old. And in our reports, maybe have data that we don't trust because the possibility of errors and inconsistency, because there's a lot of manual steps required. Never mind all the time and labor of putting all these reports and charts together in Excel all manually. I mean, so we really need to move to automated data collection through smart manufacturing techniques so we can have real-time accurate data and metrics so we can make better decisions with greater speed and accuracy. A challenge is that in the last few years and decades, maybe, we've been really collecting data in silos as needed. We had a quality problem over there, so we put a quality system in place and we have data to manage that. Over here, we had a maintenance problem, so we put a maintenance management system in place and we're collecting data about maintenance. But we didn't spend a lot of time thinking about how we were going to bring all this data together. We were really just trying to solve those specific problems. And that's how we ended up with these islands of information. Okay? But to achieve that smart manufacturing vision we were talking about, we need to improve the pipeline and get all this data together, even if the pipeline is a little messy, like in this diagram. But if we can bring it together, that value of that data increases exponentially, right? And the truth is that, yeah, we can make digital transformation into a huge science project, but the truth is that there's many technologies that are making it very practical to implement quicker. And you could spend a lot of money to put PLCs and everything, and uh, you know strive for the ideal system from day one and stuff. But the truth is that there are many smart manufacturing and industrial IoT techniques available today that are affordable to small manufacturers to implement. The infrastructure required is scalable, so you can start small and keep increasing as you keep adding more machine and processes to the system. You can use wireless networking, you can use IoT sensors. We're going to talk a little bit more about all these solutions, but basically, you can put sensors and methods of capturing data around legacy equipment. So you don't need to leave legacy equipment out of the picture, okay? And the skills and talent needed to implement all this, well, you'll see that we're working on those initiatives and improving your education programs. These colleges in Florida are really working hard on it, and that those education programs are going to be there, and your talent pipeline is going to increase too. So that's becoming more accessible also. Solutions like this are addressing some of these challenges today. Here are three technology building blocks that are making it practical to implement this automated data collection that we need, even on top of legacy equipment, right? So we can have industrial IoT sensors that can capture all kinds of parameters, such as your levels, your current levels, your temperature, pressure, vibration. You have proximity sensors. You have all kinds of sensors that can be used in process and added to your legacy machines at a low cost. Some of these examples are sensors that are under $200, uh, and that have with built-in Wi-Fi connectivity, many of them. So data gateways, these are solutions that are letting us connect that data acquisition, the sensors, uh, to systems in the cloud, and are helping us format that data, organize that data into the format that the other system can receive. And then we have a lot of industrial IoT and smart manufacturing platforms that we can implement in the cloud, and that help us organize data for AI methods, for more advanced analytics, for through APIs, so we can easily connect things and perform visualization, analytics, and orchestrate the processes through our workflow. Let's dive a little more into that. So a key part of that solution we're talking about are these interoperability and data sharing platforms, right? That help us uh, separate, decouple, really, the data producers from the data consumers, okay? When we separate them and integrate them through APIs, and these are standard open APIs that we want to put in place, right? It helps us to move forward and keep evolving as we implement things, because this is not just a one-time transformation, right? Technology keeps moving, and our manufacturing process keep moving fast. So what we need to do is set up an infrastructure that is flexible and makes it easy to bring new devices into the picture, bring new solutions into the picture on top. or even the evolving solutions that we have, right? But right now, instead of a strategy like this, we have a myriad of integrations that are fragile and built on proprietary methods that people are really afraid to touch. And that legacy is part of what we need to tackle, right? And but let me tell you, there's ways to tackle it in transition slowly. So let's say this could be a very typical uh, architecture on premise. We got some machines. We were integrated through PLCs and SCADA system to MES system to an ERP system, and we have some dedicated integration pipelines here that are sharing some information, so we can keep our ERP system with and know that our production orders are getting completed on time for our customers. Well, one of the myths that we want to tackle is that you don't need to throw all that away and start over. You could implement on the side an industrial IoT backbone and platform that kind of helps us get data out of these systems into some enterprise uh, data lakes and enterprise dashboards that help us bring and share data across the enterprise without disrupting the legacy integrations. That could be one of the solutions, or it could be a transitional state for you. Another possibility is that you start migrating some of your systems to the cloud, to a more modern architecture. For example, maybe in this example, they've transitioned their ERP system to the cloud, but they still have their MES on premise and some of their SCADA on premise. So you can also start transition gradually and moving more of your machines and new sensors to your IoT backbone. So it could be now you could have a hybrid system, and maybe you're fine with this for the next 2 or 3 years architecture, but maybe you decide that you really want to fully transition your architecture, but this could be over time, right? To where everything, all your machines and equipments are sharing data through some industrial IoT, smart manufacturing backbone, through open, interoperable methods and standards, so that all your solutions and systems that are built on data and need to share data are doing it in standard ways. And it's easy to, oh, I decide tomorrow I want to replace my ERP system. They go after the same APIs, after the same integration APIs, right? So we don't need to change. We don't need to look at changing everything or be concerned that we're going to break everything if we change one of our systems or we replace one of our machines or one of our vendors. We really take care by putting a good foundation in place. We don't have to feel like we're committing to a specific vendor, to a specific solution, because we're focusing on how things are integrated more than on what is the specific solution we're implementing. Right. So it's a little shift, more attention to architecture gives us more flexibility and future proofing of our systems. And these are not that hard to implement if we really have this mindset from the beginning. So what have we learned from the companies that are moving forward with these methodologies, right? Let me share some of the things that we've learned on how to move strategically but systematically through the journey to implementing these type of systems. Okay, because there are many levers and value levers to pursue, as we pointed out, like in this study by McKinsey, that we you can decide that, oh, we're going to tackle asset utilization. We're going to tackle some of our quality problems, right? Maybe that's where your main problems are. I mean, do we start with ERP, MES, the data platform? That is the wrong questions. The right question is, where is our biggest business issue? Is it downtime? Is it getting the product out the door on time? Is it the quality? Our workforce turnover? So start with that in mind. And then look at the technology solutions, because we have all kinds of technologies and solutions available in categories of solutions. And maybe you want to implement them all. But what you need to do, I mean, if you go to the conferences and like the road show, that I think there's 2 coming up in Florida right now in October, right? And in some of these industry conferences, right, you will see all these kind of solutions demonstrated, right? From collaborative robots to ways to automate process control, to really get visibility of where everything's at in the plan through some endem boards, um, through these vision systems that can help and assist and augment the worker by kind of letting them know where things are. Is like, okay, I have 100 bins in front of me, but I can green light the ones that you need for this job right now. You know, tracking of material through the plants and the supply chain and the warehouse, uh, vision systems that are checking quality in the middle of the process. So there's all kinds of ways to augment what the worker is doing in the shop. And the way to prioritize that is by your business strategy, right? So what the leaders are doing is that we need to start with the end in mind. Where do you want your company to be 3 or 5 years from now? Okay. And to do that, we need to get our whole team aligned on that and agreeing on the urgency and this vision for our future state of the business. What is that true north that we're targeting? I mean, do we all believe that the current quality and delays are acceptable, that we're making money, so we're probably okay? Or do we agree that there's some changes that we need in the business, that in the next 3 or 5 years to stay competitive? So this is an overview of this Sesame prescribed systematic way to get your teams focused and develop a roadmap. I mean, we believe there's 6 areas to work on. That we first start with vision and strategy. We make sure we have the team aligned around these things. What are those business outcomes that you can see here in examples in the bottom here of this chart? But that I discuss how important the mindset and the culture is, so that we're developing that right mindset and culture in our team, that we're establishing a good systems foundation that allows us to be more agile about how we change systems and stay up to date and implement new solutions and new use cases. So when we put these solutions in place, notice that we start talking about what systems we need and how we optimize people, all the way to how we improve our ecosystem, our value chain, our supply chain, okay, to service our customers better. So all these things need to be looked at with the customer in mind, with the future state in mind. And like I was hinting, this is a team sport. So It's not something that just a couple people go into an office and say, "Oh, this is what we're going to do for the next 3 years." Um, it's really something you want to get your whole team involved and aligned, because we're talking about mindset, we're talking about culture, you know, and that what worked the last 30 or 40 years to get us here is probably not the same that's going to work to realize this future of the smart factory, right? So we have tools. Part of that process, systematic process I was talking about, is that we have tools and software that makes it easier for manufacturers to align their team to a common understanding of the maturity of their business practices. Where are you today and where you want to be? And we can benchmark you against what other manufacturers have been doing too. So these tools are available. We can help you quantify your business cases, not just on cost reduction. No, I can save 10% there, 20% there, but really, we want you to also think about growth and growing your revenue and ways that technology can help you grow your business, be more competitive, become part of these new digital ecosystems, right? Really get your factory future ready. And then have the whole team agree on how much can we move the needle, from where you're at today to where you are at in 3 years. Okay, so that the idea is not that you're going to make this huge change overnight. That kind of strategy usually is risky and not successful. Is more about what are the steps in looking at this transformation as a journey. It's a journey, okay, that you're going to embark on for the next 3 or 5 years. The whole industry is doing that, right? So you want to end up with a good roadmap, a strategic roadmap that really starts with the business objectives, your outcomes that you're striving for, and then talks about how technology could be used to help you achieve those business outcomes. Okay. And we have a lot of resources available for your journey. In FloridaMakes has, the colleges have, I mean, this whole ecosystem, right, that is evolving has a lot of resources available for you. So I want to remind you that this roadmap tools I've been talking about, that is one of the resources available through Sesame, and along with a whole network of coaches that is trained to help you through building a strategic roadmap in a practical way for a small manufacturer, that we have all kinds of education resources that can help you move from being more aware of what smart manufacturing solutions are available and might be of interest to your company, to workshops that drill down more with leadership on how to get your team started on the right track, to and to workshops for the implementers that need to implement the technology, all the way to these formal education programs that like your colleges are putting together. So here's an example of a workshop that you can look out for it coming soon to Florida, I hope. But this is an example of a half-day workshop that we do with manufacturing leadership on maybe how you can start bringing lean and smart manufacturing together, getting more specific about how that happens, the methodologies available to improve resource utilization, quality, and flow, leveraging technology solutions. So going a little beyond the traditional lean into digital lean. Here's an example of a 2-day boot camp that we do for the smart manufacturing implementers, where we really dive into smart manufacturing, data capturing methodologies, information modeling, edge and cloud technologies that you can leverage with hands-on exercises, with some of the equipment that you can implement with in practical ways with 25,000, $50,000 investment total. You can start putting some of these building blocks in place, and we can show you examples of how to do it. And some of the other resources we have is that we're working with Florida, but also with all kinds of other states around the country on developing these pathways that start with CTE programs in high school, and but are based on micro-credential industry standard micro-credentials that are valid nationwide, not just in Florida, we uh, but we're stressing with college 2-year and 4-year degree programs in many states are starting to allow their students to earn credit through micro credentials. So if you have already achieved certain level of these industry micro credentials, they'll give you credit towards 2- and 4-year degrees. So the workforce can gradually learn more and get that on their resume into higher paying jobs and roles. So it's a collaboration between industry, educators, and the workforce, right? Making sure we get all those aligns with the skills needed for this future manufacturing picture we were talking about. So here's an example with SACA, the Smart Automation Certificate Alliance, of a lot of their micro credentials. These become a framework and building blocks, so that you can keep obtaining micro credentials and stacking them towards different job role requirements. So we have been working with them specifically on smart manufacturing. These ones in the center here around smart manufacturing. We've just added 4. We're adding a couple more this year. They're also adding all kinds of micro credentials for semiconductor industry, for example. Process industry just added a bunch. So, and many Florida colleges are already using them. So then not only you graduate with your 2-year degree, but also you graduate with these industry micro credentials at the same time. And we don't stop when we finish the college degree. We don't stop anymore, our skill development. The truth is that in today's manufacturing environment, you're going to have to keep upgrading your skills. So these micro credentials that you can earn like in 40 hours of work, uh, which allows for very flexible learning while you're working also. So this is a very important strategy for us. If you want to learn more about it, please reach out to us and we can definitely answer more questions in this area. So in summary, our manufacturers have an exciting journey and roadmap ahead of them. So the Florida colleges, FloridaMakes are all keeping up with new technologies and the skills needed through many of these programs and events they are organizing. SESME is one of the organizations that is available to help your initiatives, you know. So we discussed today some important topics like why industry leaders are working hard on smart manufacturing, the new mindset and culture required, the foundational building blocks, and how to get started on the right steps for your journey. So now I think we want to open up for questions.
Yeah, thanks, Conrad. That was a great presentation. Please, if you have questions, please put them in chat. Um, yeah, attendees, unfortunately, on the Zoom that we're currently using can't speak, but certainly if you put it in chat, we will repeat the question and get an answer for you. So, Conrad, I don't just off the top of your head, Do you have like some recent examples of maybe some small companies that have sort of worked with SESME or partners with SESME and kind of the difference that's made in their environment?
I um I do. I don't know if I have him on this deck, but I can look. But I do have some examples.
Hey, while you're looking for that, I just wanted to also reiterate that there's about 28 state colleges in Florida, as well as a bunch of technical colleges and certainly universities. So if you're a manufacturer and you would like to connect with those colleges or universities, please reach out to me. I'll put my name in the or my email in the chat. Reach out to me or anybody else at Flate, and we will help you connect and hopefully find the talent that you need as you transition to automation.
Yeah. So so here are some examples of companies that have been willing to share their outcomes of working with us through these processes. I love Bevan Bells as an example. So these are the folks that make bells for musical bells, like the one that was in that Christmas movie. Uh, so, and they're the only manufacturer of bells in the U.S. and of these kind of bells, and they're gearing up. Is it for 100 years or something? They're gearing up for 200-year anniversary. Yeah. And you would think an old company with their old ways, is not interested in modernizing, but the owner has been very progressive and moving. I mean, she's like fourth generation managing this company, and or third generation or something. But they're a great example of a small company that has moved forward and is moving forward, has put a roadmap in place and started checking off little initiatives, and they're making that journey going. And we have recordings of her talking about it and being very excited about, eating the elephant one bite at a time is how she says. I'm just quoting her, and I love how she puts that in place. But here's some other examples like Cleveland Wheel Brake Systems. These are all that we have them recorded, but they're working with other of our partners in that Ohio area. Anderson Windows is a little larger manufacturer, but still not a large manufacturer, it's a medium manufacturer. But so these methodologies scale, and the important thing and the common denominator here is that all these folks have put a roadmap in place. They've made this a team sport, that they understand that this is a journey, and they're taking steps toward achieving that future state.
Yeah, thanks, Conrad. We have another question, but before I do that, I certainly want to add, I mentioned Florida Makes is here to help both with you connecting with education, but certainly more importantly, helping industry connect, providing resources for industry. So Florida Makes has a team of people all over the state that can come visit you and help you, not just with smart manufacturing, but most issues that manufacturers face today. We've got resources that we can lean on to help you be successful. So please reach out to us if you have any questions about not just automation, but anything that your company is dealing with that you think could get some assistance with from Florida Makes. All right, let's
Bernie?
see. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a question on IP, intellectual property. So Eric, thank you for the question. Yes, protecting intellectual property is very important. We are hearing that from Florida manufacturers. And in fact, we had supported one advanced manufacturing company recently in quite an elaborate IP issue. We do work closely with the U.S. Patent and Trade Office, their intellectual property division on this. If you have a specific issue, I can help connect you with them. But also just as a resource to those of us, I'm gonna include that in the follow-up email, but there was also a webinar that we did actually in November 15th, I believe, it's the middle of the month in November, where we had 5 IP attaches, 5 different countries plus the division head present a lot of the very important things and considerations and planning that every advanced manufacturer, really any manufacturer in the state of Florida, need to consider and put in place. So Eric, I will share that with you and the rest of the team. Thank you, Ernie. And then there's a question on other thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Bruce, I want to add something to that. So all these methodologies I talked about, there's ways to secure them and cybersecurity methodologies to secure them. What you don't want is that your concerns about IP stuff to be like a non-starter. Okay, first of all, a lot of the data we're talking about that needs to be shared has nothing to do with IP. So a lot of this data by itself, I mean, what you need to protect is your product recipe, your process recipe, you know, you need to really think about what is really IP. Okay, is the temperature being broadcasted from a sensor IP? Is um, is the reading of a barcode IP? You know, so really focus on that and protect your IP, but also don't make it where you can't connect things and use that as an excuse to move forward with data-centric methodologies because some people are overcautious and you can what you need to be more worried about is the methods of coming in and being able to adjust your process or something like that. That's where you need to really put more cybersecurity than on your methods of broadcasting data, for example. These data elements that by themselves. Now, how you broadcast bigger things like CAD models, like recipes and stuff, that's very important, and you want to protect that.
Ernie, there was a question. Hang on. Something
From
about
Eric.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Eric.
there was one from Jean-Paul. Let's see.
Yeah, Justin had his hand up, but I didn't see his question.
So Jean-Paul, Conrad, this is for you. Do you work with training centers other than colleges and universities to offer technical micro credentials?
We'll work, like CTE programs. If you have technical training programs, we can work with them. Yes, yes, and we're happy to do any workforce training programs that your region supports. So please reach out to us. We'll work with them.
Yeah, and Jean-Paul, Ernie and his team also can help with that because they do work a lot with our colleges and universities, right, Ernie?
That's right.
So
Yeah, we're here to help.
I want to address because here's this question from Eric. Oh, if we connect our ERP system, it has all this information in it. So I want to be clear that when we say that you want to connect to the ERP system and send them a trigger that a work order completed or something, that is not the same as saying let's make everything, all our ERP information available to everybody. That's a huge extreme the other side. So there are ways to control the information pipeline, only pass in the information you need and share the information you need without broadcasting all the data available in your systems. That is not what we're talking about. Okay, thank you.
And Justin said, I think Justin said his question was answered. Thanks for that feedback, Justin. And Stanley, yes, you're welcome. We love bringing informative webinars to our folks. And you will there's a ton more information in what Conrad has prepared. You all will have that. And Ernie, I think I'd like to segue into should we talk about the Smart Manufacturing Roadshows coming up as well? Because a lot of
For
these,
sure, yes.
yeah.
I believe we had a slide on it, and I just reposted the note that
Patricia, go ahead and move the slide next. Yeah, perfect. Go ahead, Ernie.
All right, yeah, thank you. And I reposted the links to the road shows there on the right-hand side that Ruth sent originally. But we have two coming up. There's one in Orlando, October 13th, and the next day there's one in Tampa. So if yeah, I mean, if you even if you're just curious about what can be done or the opportunities and or the help that's available to you, please join us. These are in-person events only. They're basically in the afternoon, so it's just about a half a day. So just choose one or the other. You don't need to attend both. So yeah, please join us because this could be the start of your journey on how to learn more about how to automate and save your company and be more efficient and save your company time and money. So definitely please join us. Are there any questions about the road shows while we have this up?
So just to add to it, I don't see any question yet, Ernie, but just to add to that, yeah, Teresa has posted the registration link for both days. So if you're attending both, you have to register twice, please. As Ernie said, one is in Orlando and one is in Tampa. When you click those links, you will see the detailed agenda. Also, the post I put in points to a web page within our website, FloridaMakes.com, with consolidated information on both. Folks, this is the first time to be hosting Smart Manufacturing. Conrad is part of SESME. That's why this is sort of a kickoff webinar for those road shows as well. And there was, yeah, go ahead, Conrad.
I just want to mention, because something to look forward at those road shows is, please make sure to visit the tabletop exhibits. You're going to have live demonstrations of technology that you can just implement in your shop, and these practical methods I was talking about on the road shows. They're actually going to have not only you're going to have the expertise of the speakers that are there, but you're also going to have tabletop exhibits of solutions, and you can learn more about it and get that firsthand experience from those demonstrations.
Yes. And I want to go back, Ernie. I'm going to take half a minute because some of the questions kind of touching upon cybersecurity as well and CMMC. So folks, there has been a ruling already on CMMC. So we're hoping to put together a follow-up webinar. We've hosted like 5 of these already. But you don't need to wait for us to put together the webinar. You have my contact information, Ernie's, Teresa's, all of the team. If your company really has some pressing needs, questions, on how to get your compliance updated or start your compliance journey, if you're in the defense industrial base, this is pertinent to you and something you need to pay attention to. Really, there's an action item for you if you are doing Department of Defense contracts. So I want to plug that because, Eric, kind of like your question there on proprietary system, it's probably a good idea anyway to get your CMMC compliance in place because that's going to protect your entire system. Anything else, Ernie? And then we're going to switch to, if not, we're going to switch to our couple of ending slides.
Nothing else for me, Ruth. I just want to thank Conrad for presenting, and thanks for everybody attending.
Okay, so yeah, there's another joke. Why did the AI inspector get promoted? The answer is it never missed a flaw except its own dating algorithm. Haha. So so we hope you enjoyed today's webinar. I thank you, Conrad, for doing an excellent job. It's a tough topic. There's a lot, like you said, we have to take a little bite at a time to eat the elephant, right? So there's a lot of information you had shared, and there's follow-up information, there's follow-up activities, attend the road shows. As Conrad said, this is your chance to see, touch, feel, and maybe even smell the technologies in place that we're bringing to you. So we debunk some myths. We hopefully help you prepare for the future, get you thinking. Now that you know, we have more resources for you. And Conrad has a few slides there on how to take your first steps. And so next slide, please, Patricia. There is a slide. This is how you get hold of us. Please engage with the FloridaMakes. We are here to support you. I already told you our mission and vision at the beginning. So contact us. Next slide. In fact, talk about outreach. Next slide. This is a wonderful annual event that we host. There's a lot of work involved in this with ecosystem partners, state and national partners. We enjoin you to register, join us for the annual Make More Manufacturing Summit. There's a code there Patricia had put in. It's October 22nd and 23rd in downtown Orlando. This is right next to our office building. We hope to see you there. Please register. And anything else, Patricia? We already talked about the road show. It's the next slide. If you can just show that again. The road show again is October 13th in Orlando, October 14th in Tampa. And the next slide is just reiterating that. So upcoming events are those two things. Upcoming webinars, we'll send that to you momentarily. So Conrad, any final words from you?
No, please. I know we went over a lot, but I hope you don't feel overwhelmed. There's easy ways to get there systematically. Talk to the folks at the road shows, really make the most out of those kind of face-to-face engagements. Thanks for attending this webinar today.
Yes. Oh, there's two follow-up. Thank you, Conrad. Two follow-up questions from Jean-Paul. Yes, recording will be sent to all the registrants directly from Zoom. So please check your spam inbox for that. And if you have, what is that, like a substitute email, make sure you check that. And yes, on Make More Manufacturing there, actually it's 2 days, Jean-Paul. So yes, there will be lots of events there as well. So it's 11:01. I thank you all for joining us today for our webinar series. Thank you, Conrad. Thank you, Ernie, for joining us today, and to the wonderful team behind the webinar series today, Teresa and Patricia. Thank you for your help. We'll see you again in a month or so. Everybody have a great day. Happy Friday. Bye-bye.